My combat sucks. In my last video, I talked about the things needed to make combat great, and I utilized none of that for my own game. But it's a good thing you guys can't play it because wait. I need to fix the combat before the next demo build goes out. Ah! Before we even get to any of that though, let's talk about a little bit about what the game is, you know? So my game is codenamed DD. It's an action platformer, not serious but not too unserious, you know, blah blah blah. Watch the last video. It's centered around a punch mechanic. It gives a dash, deals damage if it hits an enemy. It can also be used to interact with the environment. Check out this little carousel thing that I got going with it. But wait. I made it a point in my last video to mention that combat in an action platformer should try and not be repetitive. What's gonna entice the player to keep wanting to go into combat? All you can do is punch. That's it. And you might think to yourself, but wait, what if the punching is really satisfying? And that's where the problem is. It isn't that satisfying. So where do we go from here?
Well,
Yeah,
you
man,
could just add
just add some different punch animations, man. You know, that just gives it some kind of you know. Yeah.
Wait! There's three main ideas that can make hits satisfying. You have your sound, you have effects, and you have a tight and heavy feel once a hit lands. What if we work on those three things? That'd make it satisfying, right?
Well,
Yeah, man, I guess, dude. I mean, I like the idea better.
All right, that tears it. Let's get into it. So this is what the attacking looks like right now. Ooh, that shit sucks. Yeah, I mean, it does kind of suck. The sound isn't heavy. There's no sparks. There's nothing that gives that oomph when you're hitting something. So let's get to work. So the first thing I thought of was giving some kind of visual effect when the hit lands. We already have the hit animation on the enemy, but I thought we could do something more movement based, and that's where I added this in. Looks pretty impactful, right? But I didn't just stop there. I added in sparks, deepened the hit sound, and made the enemy's character light react to the hit too. Yes, it does look pretty nice now. Pretty juicy. Okay, we have that, but since it's a central mechanic, we want to make it useful for other things too. So what am I going to do about that? Well, the idea is to have an interaction system. So with that, I can really break it down into two pieces. We have the interaction itself and an interactable that I'd be able to assign to any kind of object. And with those interactables, I can make them move, spawn, or trigger something else. But that's enough talking. Let's get to implementing this thing. Let's do it. So first things first, I went and created a button in Blender just for simplicity and testing. Then I went to go make the interaction system, which holds a variable amount of interaction effects. These interaction effects I split into three types, which all inherit from the original. There's the movement effect, there's the spawning effect, and there's the cutscene effect. Throughout the process, I made some silly mistakes that I'll never make again. And now that we have that part done, it's time for the last one. I need some more combat mechanics to complement the punch mechanic here. I want to give the player the option to have more dynamic combat. The first option up is a kind of ground pound situation, which I'll be calling a hammer. Just slams to the floor. That's the basic ability for right now. I plan for upgrades, and that brings me to the next thing. The option to upgrade a punch or the hammer. But for now, let's keep it simple and start with the hammer. I hopped into Blender, gave Dash some hammer animation. His name is Dash, by the way. Then the real work began. I set up the animation states, gave it some code, set up the effects, and set up the hitboxes. Sounds like it'd be a simple process, right? Well, you're wrong. There was so much bullshit that went into making this dang thing. And I wish I could tell you it was due to some crazy ass incompatibilities with the code or something like that. No. It was just simple human error. I was a bit dumb. Looking at it from a serious perspective now, there was a few things that I slipped up on. There's an event in the hammer animation that blocks all movement. You won't be able to move during the hammer. So what I didn't do was allow the movement script to check for ground while being blocked from moving. Wow. And you want to know what the messed up thing about that is too? I spent like 10 or 15 minutes looking through everything that I did to make sure I wasn't going crazy or something just for that little line. You're gonna see it in the video, but when I found it, I was like, oh my god, this was it? That's it, really? Want to know what else happened too? There was the effect that spawns as soon as you do the hammer. I was trying to spawn it and it was just off. It wouldn't spawn where I wanted it to be, and I went through so many things to try and get it to work. I was gonna do like some kind of clunky or hacky workaround using like offsets and stuff, and I was gonna do like some hierarchy changes and try and finesse and finagle it. But you know what the fucking problem was? I didn't spawn it where I set it in the editor. I wasn't spawning it right where I had the location already set. I was trying to spawn it right where the player is standing, and that was giving me the issue the entire time. You know how I was relieved, but damn, like, well, nonetheless, I got it done. I learned a few things along the way, and I even implemented the upgrade system. My combat went from looking like this to looking like this. Yeah, looking like this. So yeah, that's the overall solid improvement. There's gonna be more things I want to implement along the way, but I'm happy you guys came along for this ride, saw how I turned my combat from 0 to hero, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.